What up, y'all? It's Kyle Driver and Big Will. Brecklin said we should call this Boo. So this is Boo, a sports show with KFD and Big
Hey,
Will.
it works out well.
How you feeling, Big
Hardcore
Will?
sports show.
Hell yeah. So, I know not all juggalos are into sports, but we're bound to get into a spirited debate, so I'm sure it's going to be entertaining for people. You and
Yeah,
I,
yeah, all right. There's people who like sports out there, and if they don't, they'll learn something new, I guess.
you and I always end up yelling whenever we talk about sports, at least one time.
Man, everybody does. Everybody I talk about sports with, it starts out, like, what's up? And then it's like, you're at like a 10.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So Big Will wants to talk about the NFL first, which I'm cool with. I think we're just gonna go over the different conferences in the NFL and talk about the conferences. I mean, we talked about doing NFC South first, but if you want to do the NFC East first, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay, let's start with the NFC East. Okay, in the NFC East, you got the Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, Washington Redskins, and the Philadelphia Eagles. And currently, Dallas Cowboys are leading the division at 7-7, followed by the Eagles at 7-7, and they play this Sunday. Winner wins the division, guaranteed that. And then you got the Redskins at 3 wins, and the Giants at 3 wins.
Okay, yeah, and then I see here you got the Giants at 3-11 and the Redskins at 3-11. That's fucking sad because I was hoping that Dwayne Haskins would be drafted to a squad that's actually going to do some shit, but I guess
he didn't
not.
get his first start. He didn't get his first start until fucking like 4 weeks ago.
What do you do? Tears ACL in practice or some shit?
Who? Haskins? No, he's playing, isn't he? Yeah, Haskins is playing.
Well, you said he just got his first start. I said you tear his ACL.
He didn't start. They didn't start him. Who was the quarterback in fucking Washington? Start the year. Fuck. It was somebody who's been around for a while. Then they decided to play Colt McCoy for a couple games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was still in the league. Apparently he is.
I'm telling you, man, it's kind of funny, and I know you're going to agree because, obviously you hate the Redskins, but, man, the Redskins haven't been shit since fucking RG3, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't been nothing since RG3 left. Right. Then they went out and got Alex Smith, and he got hurt.
Yeah, the same day, same way as fucking Joe Theismann.
Yeah, that was weird.
So okay, so I was gonna say give me your predictions for how you think the conference is gonna flesh out, but considering that the two teams you mentioned before, the Eagles and the Cowboys, the only ones that are anything in the division. Oh, I know something we could talk about. So my dad, I texted my dad yesterday, and my dad's a big Cowboys fan my whole life. Ever since he was a kid, he's been a huge Cowboys fan. So he's and he's also a Buckeyes fan.
That's even better.
So my dad was telling me that he heard a rumor that Urban Meyer is going to come coach the Cowboys.
Well, that's been a rumor for a while. I don't think that will work out, honestly, because Urban's not going to let Jerry Jones tell him what to do.
Well, my confusion there is what's the point in leaving Ohio State for health reasons if you say that you're going to just go coach there? Because from what I heard, the tumor was never going to. The tumor in his head that's giving him these awful migraines is only as small as it's ever going to be. So to me, it doesn't make sense to go from college to NFL, especially when motherfuckers are getting fired left and right. To me,
he had health problems at Florida and left and came back to Ohio State about a year and a half later.
Okay.
So he does that apparently.
We'll go to the NFC South next, I guess, since that's.
Hang on. So the matchup between the Cowboys and Eagles.
Okay.
The Eagles. The last 2 weeks, the Eagles struggled to beat the Redskins. They struggled to beat the Giants last Monday. I don't think they got the chance to beat with the way the Cowboys played against the Rams yesterday.
Oh shit! I forgot about the chat. Yeah, Ryan Miller saying, wasn't it Case Keenum before?
Yeah, Case Keenum. That's right. Yeah, Case Keenum.
And then he got traded to what? The Broncos? And then Flacco replaced him?
Not this year.
Where's
Not
Keenum?
this year.
Because I know.
Yeah, Keenum was in Denver. Yeah, Keenum was in Denver. I don't know who the Redskins was. I can't remember off the top of my head because, it's the Redskins.
Yeah, because because Cousins went for Cousins was the quarterback at Redskins. Cousins went to Minnesota, and
Last year.
I'm pretty sure Keenum was released.
Then they brought Alex Smith in last year. He got hurt last year. And I can't think of who the quarterback was to start the season.
That's who it was, Cousins. That's who it was. I couldn't fucking think. I mean, like I said, fucking Redskins are irrelevant as fuck, so how would I know?
Right, they are irrelevant. But yeah, NFC South. Why don't you take that away?
So obviously, it's no secret. Huge Buccaneers fan. Always have been. For about 22 years now, and Buccaneers haven't been shit since like 2008. It was the last playoff appearance, and 2002 to 2003 season was the last Super Bowl and only Super Bowl. But so far the standings are: you got the Saints in the lead. They've already won the division. They're already playoff bound. There's nothing that's going to change that. And then the Buccaneers are in second with 7-7. The Falcons and the Panthers are tied at 5-9. Now, the most interesting part about that is the Falcons are 5-9, but they're on a 2-win streak. And the Panthers are 5-9, but they've lost 6 straight. So they started the season 5-3. And then
they started out really good.
Yeah, I thought, after they beat us in London, after we whooped their ass the first time we played them, I thought for sure they were going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then now they're just fucking straight fucking downhill. And Drew Brees is a fucking animal. He's playing tonight, and he is what'd they say? He's 3 touchdowns away from an all NFL record.
Yeah, breaking the record set by Peyton Manning. Yep.
Man, that's like, because to me, a lot of people will say, Tom Brady's the GOAT, which I suppose, all bullshit aside, numbers, you can't really lie. However, I used to say that I thought Aaron Rodgers was the next best. You know what I'm saying?
Well, right. He was starting to go that way, but
arguably Breeze is the mini GOAT. Breeze is the guy behind. Like, to me, it's. I'll put him third so far because he's still young. I go Brady, Favre, then Breeze.
Did you call Breeze young? He's like 40.
He's younger than well then he plays like he's still a youngin because he's still
that's more like it. But he did get hurt he missed I think he missed 4 or 5 games this year due to injury.
That brings up something else. Arguably the reason why the Saints are 10-3 is because they have arguably the best backup in the league.
Yeah, Bridgewater. Yep.
Bridgewater was fucking killing it. I was very impressed with his play. He was
5-0.
I'm telling you, man. But Tampa's playing Saturday at 1:00. They're one of the 3 Saturday games since the college football teams are on play away for their playoffs or whatever. Tampa's playing fucking Houston. I'm sure they're gonna get wrecked. But Arians issued a statement after their blowout win Sunday, saying that they're done with losing. We will finish 8-8 or 9-7. So
that's a bold prediction.
I think he's right. I think they'll lose to Houston, but I think their last game is against the Falcons, honestly.
Falcons ain't no gimme after what the Falcons did yesterday.
Yeah, but let me see. I'm pretty sure Tampa wrecked the Falcons before. Oh, no, it was a close game. It's 35-22. It wasn't too bad.
Falcons started out horrible, though, this year. They started out – they have not done anything since they gave up that big-ass 28-3 lead against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. They have not done shit.
Oh, something else I didn't even think about is fucking Chris Godwin went down on Sunday.
Yep, saw that.
So here's the thing, and this made news. That's why I'm talking about it. At the conference, I believe it was either press conference or to media afterwards, like to reporters. Bruce Arians said that he needs to look into his team scientists to whether he's pushing the receivers too hard, because within 2 weeks he had 3 receivers go down with hamstring injuries, and Mike Evans, our golden boy, who signed a 5-year fucking extension and took a pay cut for the team to make cap room, is injured. And I've always said that I'm glad to have him, but I feel so fucking bad for Mike Evans and Julio Jones, because Julio Jones deserves a better team, and so does Mike Evans. But Mike Evans loves the Buccaneers so goddamn much that he's loyal.
Right. Some teams do that. Some players do that. They'll stay with the team even though they're trash. And look at Calvin Johnson in Detroit.
True. Fucking Megatron deserved way better.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, without a doubt.
What okay, so you want to go north or west next?
I'll go north. You got Green Bay leading at 11-3, Minnesota 10-4, and Detroit's down there 3-9-1.
3-10-1.
Oh,
they lost.
Yeah, 3-10-1. Yeah, 3-10-1. 3-10-1. And you got fucking the Bears out there they just lost to Green Bay. Third place.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, the Bears are third place. They looked good for a minute. They just this year though, the Bears, that defense is so good, but that offense for most of the year couldn't even put up no points.
Agreed. What's funny about that division is one of my best friends that I hang out with all the time, like around here, is a huge Packers fan. They've only lost 3 games. I'm trying to think of who they lost to. They lost to the Ravens, the Raiders, and
Chiefs.
Well, when they lost to the Ravens, I thought my friend talked like they were the most trash team in the NFL, and then I looked at him yesterday. I'm thinking, bro, your team's lost 3 games. My team's 7-7. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right. Exactly. 3 games.
I mean, George, I can look up the results, but I didn't even. I was busy. I didn't even watch the fights. Did you watch the fights, Will?
No, I did not. No, I can't say that I did. Yeah, the NFC North is crazy. I mean, of course you got the Lions. They're trash again.
Well, that's a young team who's very injured.
They started the season out 2-0-1, and then they have only beat 1 team since then, and that was the New York Giants.
I think they said on Sunday they're on their third, because they played Tampa this week. I think they said they were on their 3rd string quarterback.
Yeah. Yep. And they brought quarterbacks in to work out too, and all that fun stuff.
I mean, the NFC North's a pretty boring division. Let's move on to the West.
Yeah, the West is interesting. The West is you got a very interesting West in the NFC this year right now. Right now it is. Only one team who's below 500, and that's the Cardinals.
So we got the Seahawks at 11-3, the 49ers at 11-3, the Rams at 8-6, and the Cardinals at 4-9, which is weird to me because the Rams were in the Super Bowl last year. 8-6 isn't bad, but it's not as good as what was expected. And with 2 teams at 11-3 in the division, I don't really know if that's good enough for a wild card or not.
Yeah, it is. Oh, no. Well, here's the scenario with the Rams. They have to win both their games, and Minnesota has to lose both their games to get the last wild card.
Oh, shit. I didn't even look to see who Minnesota was playing.
I think they played the Bears this week.
The Bears and they play the Packers. They play the Packers on Sunday, and then the Bears is their last game. I don't think they're going to win either of those games, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Shit. Okay, so I mean, what part of the AFC you want to do first?
Go with the East. I'll go with the East. You got the Patriots at 11-3. You got the Buffalo Bills, shockingly, at 10-4. And you got fucking the Jets. I can't remember the record off the top of my head, but it's like what, 3-4 wins?
Jets are 5-9.
Oh, 5. And then you got the fucking Dolphins. They're what?
3-11.
3-11. Okay, yeah. And
now,
then it's funny because the Patriots and fucking Bills play this Saturday.
right. Well, you know, Bills fans are my favorite. Fucking Bone George sent me a video on Instagram of a dude getting thrown through a table, and he didn't realize that it was a football video when he sent it to me. I'm like, yeah, man, Bills fans are fucking crazy.
Yeah, they are.
Fucking power bombing each other through fucking tables and shit. Oh man, and I'm happy to see that kid Josh Allen from Wyoming do good.
Yeah, he's having a good year.
You know,
they're having a real good year out there.
What's funny is you wouldn't know it because two of the teams are doing well, but I've always said that the AFC North and the AFC East are the two most trash divisions in the entire league. But then again,
the AFC East is normally horrible, and there's usually one winning team, and that's the Patriots.
But then NFC, especially with Tampa Bay, it's pretty bad when we're in second place with fucking 7-7. Jesus Christ. Well, what's even worse is the fucking AFC West. You got the Chiefs at 10-4, the Raiders at 6-8, the Broncos at 5-9, and the fucking Chargers at 5-9. How you gonna have a fucking division with the second place person being 6-8? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good to have that for your division. I mean,
it's fucking terrible.
No competition then. No competition for you've got 6 wins and you're in second place. Well,
you got Mahomes versus Carr, who's trash. Then you got fucking old man Flacco and old man Rivers.
Well, Flacco's not starting. I forgot the dude's name in Denver, but he took over a couple games ago.
Danny Boy says Broncos finally won a game. What do you mean finally? They're only on a 1-loss streak. They've won some decent games, it looks like.
Right. They beat Houston a week ago.
Oh, okay. He's right. Yeah, okay. Their last win was the Browns. And then the Chargers and then the Texans. Hey, you beat the Texans. That's a good quality win.
It's a good win, yeah.
Hell yeah.
They're a division leader, I mean.
That's pretty fresh. Okay, so we've only got 2 more conferences left, and then we can move on to college football and then whatever else we want to talk about.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, you got the AFC South with Texans at 9-4. No, I can't be 9-5.
I got it brought up if you want.
Yeah, I don't have. I could go find it on my phone, but I don't. No, I think they're 9-5.
Yeah. Texans are 9-5. Titans are 8-6. The Colts are 6-7, and the Jaguars are 5-9. Which is funny because that was a pretty stacked fucking division last year. I mean, fuck, you had the Titans and the Colts were in the playoffs last year. Or was that the year before?
The Colts and I think the Titans made the year before. I think Colts made it. Yeah, Colts and Texans made it last year.
Hell yeah! That's what I thought. Hold on a second.
All right. So yeah, talking the NFL right now. Get into college in a minute. Almost out of the NFL. Anybody got anything to say in the chat about Broncos finally won a game? They won a few, Danny boy. Come on. Oh, what's your question?
Damn, there was 3 title fights. You guys gonna talk about UFC? I already answered your question. I don't know anything about UFC.
Yeah, I didn't see it this week either, so I have no clue.
I haven't followed it in a while. I just play the games on Xbox. I'm sorry. Last guy I remember is fucking Frank Mir or Mauricio Shogun Hua. I don't even know if he's even in UFC anymore. Derrick Henry from the Titans is a Sasquatch. Dude, Derrick Henry's a fucking monster. Just the fucking stiff arms for days, fam. All right, can you hear me, Will? You ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
I literally just answered it again, George. What the hell? Says so AFC North, you got the Ravens at fucking 12-2, the Steelers at 8-6, the Browns are at 6-8, and the Bengals are at 1-13. Yeah. Which is funny because the Browns won like what 2 or 3 games last year, and now they've won 6. Which is
no, they won 8.
Good.
They won 7 or 8 last year.
The Browns?
I think so. I think they were 7-9. They had a strong finish with Baker Mayfield finally starting.
Oh, that's why I fucking told Tori the other day. I was like, you know what? It disgusts me. You pretend to be a fucking Ravens fan because you thought Joe Flacco and fucking Dennis Pitta were cute, and now you like the uniforms and you like Edgar Allan Poe in Baltimore and shit. So then, I'm like, you pretend to be a fucking Ravens fan. Your team's fucking 10-2. I've been a diehard fucking Buccaneers fan for 22 years and they ain't shit. Fuck you.
Right, right. It's been a while since the Bucs have been done anything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that division's crazy in the North. You got the Ravens though at 12-2. I mean, and they got wins over the 49ers, the wins over the New England Patriots. I mean,
George is in my fucking DM saying, "Do you guys know Bobby Boucher from South Central Louisiana State University Mud Dogs?" You know who that is, Will?
We haven't got to college football yet, George. Sorry, man.
You know Bobby Boucher?
Yeah. I've heard of him a time or two. Yeah.
That'll be right. The LC LSU Mud Dogs. So I mean, this is the topic where we're gonna get fired up, I'm sure. So if you wanna jump into it, if you're ready, we can go ahead and switch over.
I'm gonna let you lead it off. I'm gonna let you lead off the subject. There you go. Well, notice my name, right? You notice what my name is. I had to add a few words to my name tonight. So.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Let's bring up some pretty good stats. I want to bring up. I think you know which ones I'm going to bring up.
Yeah. I know what you're going to say, and I am ready to say just as much or more.
So I just want to say that the number one team in the nation, LSU Tigers, quarterback Joe Burrow, the boy from Ohio. The trend.
Where did he start his college career at again? Where did he start his college career at again? Oh my God, where did he start at? Yeah, that's right, Ohio State. That's right, Ohio State. Yeah.
Okay. Joe Burrow received 841 first place votes. 90% of the vote.
He can enjoy that Heisman.
The most first place votes of all time. You know who didn't win the Heisman? 3 Ohio State players.
Two.
Chase Young, Justin Fields. I thought there was one more.
No, Jalen Hurts was there from Oklahoma.
No, that's right. So it was just Chase Young and Justin Fields then. So 2.
Yeah. Well, they probably split votes, because and that bullshit with Chase Young being suspended for no legit reason at all. He missed out on 2 games where he probably would have had another 8.5 sacks. It was fucking Maryland and Rutgers.
It's like, what's funny to me is like fucking Greg Delpit quit the team for like 2 weeks, which was fucking weird. Our best fucking defensive player is like, I don't want to play football anymore. What the fuck?
LSU, they're at number one. Either one could be ranked number one right now. Well, between Ohio State and LSU. Okay, that's fine. As your coach said at LSU, he didn't care whether he was 1 or 2 going into the playoffs, because you still got to win 2 games. Then number 3, you got Clemson, who ain't lost in 2 years, 29 straight games, which they ain't played nobody this year. Let's get that straight. Number 4, you got the transfer quarterback from fucking Alabama, Oklahoma, who lost to a non-ranked team.
See, that was my thing. See, here's the controversy. Here's the spirited debate. Here's the fucking hoorah. Okay, so my reasoning why I agreed with the number 1 vote, not just because of my favorite team, but because you had here. Let me bring up LSU's schedule because I don't want to fuck up any names and look like a retard here. So LSU's schedule for 2019. So we had. So the first game was obviously fucking tune-up game. It was like BYU or some shit, and then you had Chattanooga and Georgia Southern. So they had like most of their cupcake games at the beginning. But then you had fucking Texas, who was which was their first quality win. Then a couple more cupcake games, and then they started getting into the thick of it. They beat number 9 Florida, 42-28, which is another very impressive victory. Then you got Mississippi State. Then you got number 12 Auburn, and you beat them, which I think they were even ranked higher at the time. Yeah, because these are current rankings. It doesn't even say what the rank they were when they beat them.
Right.
So that was another top 10 win. And then you had Alabama, which was number 1 at the time, and they beat them. I think, Ohio State had some really quality top 10 wins as well, and you can tell me what those are because I don't remember. But
let's see. We started out the year with FAU, of course. Cincinnati was ranked at plenty of times this year. We blew them out 42-0. Then the games that 34-10 over Michigan State, they're ranked in the top 25. Win over Wisconsin 38-7. They're ranked in the top 15. Penn State, we beat them 28-17. They're ranked number 8. Michigan, obviously 56-27. They're ranked 13. Again, Wisconsin again. So there's some good wins.
I think, and we also beat Georgia in the top 10 twice. So I think it's just like that matter of like 1 or 2 extra top 10 wins, because I mean obviously Big Ten's the bigger. I mean the Big Ten East is obviously stronger than the Big Ten, the SEC West, because really the only teams in the SEC West that are really worth a shit are Alabama, Auburn, LSU, and that's it, because Georgia and Florida are in the East. So I mean, I think you're right. It could have gone either way. And Ryan Miller says the LSU Alabama game was the best of the year, dude. And it's not just because I'm an LSU fan. That game was one of the greatest games for football. But the greatest game / worst game, because they lost, the greatest football game I have ever watched was last year's LSU versus Texas A&M, where it went to 7 overtimes over some BS calls and they lost. That game went to like 3 in the fucking morning.
One game that was really amazing was that I think was Michigan Ohio State 06 when they were ranked number 1 and number 2. That was
okay.
With Michigan had their core, Mike Hart and Chad Henne and all them, and fucking Ohio State had, they had Ted Ginn and all that and company. And 1 versus 2, they probably would have played again in the national title game had Florida not blown somebody out in the SEC title game.
Right.
But it's gonna be good because you got LSU versus Oklahoma. That's gonna be a game.
It's like a lot of people say like I'm a fucking weirdo for like rooting for teams outside of my area, but like I have like a reason for every team that I like. Like LSU, I just like my parents were diehard Buckeyes fans, and I'm like, fuck that. I want to be different. So I decided, and I like Les Miles a lot. And two, NCAA 2004 for PlayStation 2, the demo, LSU was one of the two teams you could pick.
Okay.
So it was just like a combination of like wanting to be different, Les Miles, and then some stupid fucking reason. And then the Buccaneers, I have family in Tampa. My great uncle, when he was alive, used to send me Tampa Bay jerseys and shit. Like he sent me a Warren Sapp jersey once, and it was on from there. From the time I was 5 years old, because I didn't want to be a Cowboys fan anymore. Because my dad was a Cowboys fan.
Let's just assume LSU is gonna beat Oklahoma and Ohio State's gonna beat Clemson. Let's just assume that's gonna happen. And then you go to January 13th. Ohio State versus LSU for the national championship. And you know what's funny, because for the Heisman, there's another guy who could have been there. His name is J.K. Dobbins. And arguably I'm not going to say arguably, the best defensive end in college football today, Chase Young. Yeah, he had no sacks against Michigan, but they triple teamed him.
Right, dude. That fucking picture of him holding off three defenders was fucking legendary. That shit was awesome. I can give you that.
And then yeah, you got. It's also another story. You got Joe Burrow, the former Buckeye. Matter of fact, let's not even say Burrow. No, he's a Buckeye for life. He graduated from the Ohio State University. He's a graduate transfer.
I gotta tell you something. It's been fucking rough the last like 7 or 8 years being an LSU fan. Because when the Les Miles last few years, all he wanted to do was get like your Fournettes and then your Charks. So you got like one good receiver and one good fucking running back. Now we have two good running backs, two good wide receivers, and a fucking bomb-ass quarterback. It's the best chance we've – it's like honestly every year it's like, okay, how bad are we going to lose to Bama this year?
Well, I remember it was 2011 season. It was Alabama LSU played probably one of the most boring fucking football games of all time. And then Alabama lost, and they still played the national title game. And man, Alabama said, Nick Saban says, no. And it wasn't even close. Damn.
George wants me to ask you about Bobby Boucher again. He says he's the next Joe Montana.
Yeah, I know who Bobby Boucher is. Yeah, I've seen the fucking Water Boy, George. Yes. Fucking A, man. And some might say that Al Bundy's the greatest running back of all time, but you know.
Ryan Miller. Mike Alstott is my favorite player of all time, hands down. But my favorite current guy is Mike Evans. But Mike Alstott is the GOAT.
Oh, yeah. Mike Evans, your favorite Buccaneer?
He's my favorite. Yeah, he's definitely my favorite because I can't stand him. See, that's the debate I wanted to get into before I forgot was fucking Jameis Winston because, like, I'm so confused because, like, one week I hate the motherfucker, and then the next week he throws 4 touchdowns, but he still throws the interception. Like, he's got the most yards in the league, but yet he literally has like almost 30 interceptions this season.
Yeah, I mean,
how do you throw for the most yards but have 30 interceptions?
That's a good question. How? I mean, I never really liked Jameis Winston. I didn't like him at Florida State. I don't like him now. Nothing new. Well, I thought he was overrated when he won the Heisman as a freshman, and he was. And they got lucky. They won that national championship. That was not pass interference in the national title game. And Auburn should have been national champs.
Say whatever you want. I mean, I fucking hate Auburn and Alabama.
Yeah, I'm not an Auburn fan, but I hate Florida State. So yeah,
I hate. There's just a few teams that I hate. Obviously, number 1 and 2 are Alabama and Auburn easily.
Well, obviously.
And then I would say probably like Florida State, USC, and Notre Dame.
Yeah, number one on that list is Michigan. I hate Michigan with a fucking passion. Fuck Michigan.
Which is, it's so weird to hear you say that because you're from Flint. It's just weird.
Right.
But then again,
Right.
I'm from
Fuck
Ohio.
the Wolverines.
I'm from Ohio, and I say fuck Ohio State, so I guess I get it.
Horrible. That man, with how much they win, with how much Ohio State wins, I mean, fuck. Hey, Jim Harbaugh's a horrible coach, though. That's been proven already. I mean, Ohio State's only beat them like 17 of the last 19 times they played.
It's gotta be a fucking like it's gotta be awkward going home for dinner, Christmas dinner, and your brother's fucking 10-2 and going to the playoffs, and your season's over and shit.
Yeah, it'll be.
It's like, hey, what is it? Which one? Jim's the one that coaches the Wolverines, right?
Yeah, he coaches. Yeah,
yeah. It's like, hey, Jim. I'm sorry our season's over. Hey, John, how's the NFL treating you? Oh, I'm going to the playoffs.
No, here's the awkward thing with that family. How about a few years back with the 49ers were playing the fucking Ravens in the Super Bowl. Talk about awkward. When the brothers were coaching against each other in the Super Bowl, oh man.
Flannel says Chiefs all day. Casey is the town. Yeah, man, I really like Mahomes. I'm happy that they got him.
You can thank them because the refs were not there was so many horrible calls against New England in New England. I mean, New England was robbed of that game. Pass interference calls not called. Touchdowns called back that weren't there in New England. You don't get that in New England. That doesn't happen in New England.
Did you see that they caught the Patriots cheating again?
Oh, are we shocked? Come on. Spygate, Deflategate.
They were scouting the Bengals. Recording
they were playing them next week. Yeah.
The 1-13 Bengals, and you're filming their fucking practice.
I mean, they said they didn't know. Belichick said he didn't know. He had no idea.
Sisnak says, what about Peyton and Eli were in the league together?
Oh, yeah, that's another good one. Nice job, Sisnak.
Back when Eli was a total fucking trash like he is now? He's probably getting cut after this year or retiring.
No, he's retiring. No, he's not getting cut. He's retiring. There's no doubt about that.
He should. He definitely should.
They're not going to cut him. They're not going to cut the guy who brought him 2 Super Bowls. They're not going to do it. They'll force him to retire before that happens.
Right. I mean, the league's been interesting because, like, it seems like everybody's either super fucking good this year or they're fucking trash. It's like there's not much in between. There's not much, like, teams.
Come on.
Cowboys will pick Eli up. Why?
Are you making a joke, Sisnak? Because why? For what reason? Why would the Cowboys need Eli, an old ass Eli Manning? No, we're good. We're good. I think I can say that we're good. We don't need him.
Okay, so
they're gonna pay Dak a lot of money. They're gonna pay Dak some money. That's for sure.
This is the inaugural episode, so I want to go ahead and be like, so I want to ask you. Okay, I got 4 questions for you. So the first question is, well, who's your favorite Cowboy of all time? The second question is, who's your favorite QB, wide receiver, and running back? So those are my 4 questions. Favorite Cowboy, favorite QB, favorite wide receiver, and favorite halfback.
Favorite Cowboy. I'm gonna have to go with. Man, favorite Cowboy. That's a tough one to a certain extent. I mean, there's a lot I ain't seen, live play, and seen just a little bit of their film. But if I'm gonna go, since I've watched the Cowboys since like '90. So from '90 to now, I'm gonna have to go with Michael Irvin.
Okay.
All right, favorite quarterback?
Yeah.
You said favorite quarterback, like from the Cowboys or
no, from the league?
Okay. Favorite quarterback, hands down. This one's actually pretty easy. I would go with. It's a lot harder than I thought, actually. But no, I'm gonna go with fucking. I hate to say it. I'm gonna go Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's
6 championship rings. Wide receiver. I'm going the guy. You know, he went by the name T.O. That's what I'm going. Hall of Famer. Running back. One of the. It's a tie for me between two of the best of all time. Barry Sanders and Walter Payton. Barry played a short career. He didn't play that long. And they, because it was the Lions.
Fuck Barry Sanders. When he put his highlight reel out on Facebook, half the touchdowns were against Tampa Bay. Fuck Barry Sanders.
Oh damn! But no, favorite. I'm gonna go one step ahead. Favorite defensive player. I was a fan of him from college. His whole career. I'm gonna go the big boy, Warren Sapp.
See, he used to be my favorite defensive player, but he's fucking shitty human, so it kind of changed my perspective on him a little bit.
Well, I mean, what he did on the field, doesn't change what he.
Okay, so I have a better one. It's still a Buccaneer, but I have what I consider a better one. Ryan Miller says Roger the Dodger Staubach, which is my dad's favorite player because he's a Cowboys.
Yeah, I didn't see him play live, so.
Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and Tyreek Hill. Okay, Lamar Jackson's fucking tight.
I mean, he's gonna be. He might be good. It's second year in the league. We'll see.
So my favorite Buccaneer is obviously I gotta say, actually I said Mike Allstott's my favorite player of all time, but
it's a good one. Allstott would be a good one.
So I'll go. Yeah, I guess I'll say he's my favorite. He's my favorite Buccaneer, and then my favorite QB is Brett Favre. Probably the only guy that'll ever be loyal enough to beat all 32 teams to play with most of his career at the same team, because he's the only guy that's ever beaten every team.
Right.
And then my favorite wide receiver, obviously, I said it earlier, Mike Evans. Just fucking super fucking.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. And then my favorite defensive player, another fucking Buccaneer, Jesus Christ, is fucking Simeon Rice.
Oh wow! I like Simeon. Simeon was a good player. Buccaneers, when it goes with that, my two favorite defensive players they had. I'd probably go two, and that would be fucking Derek Brooks. That boy was. That linebacker was ooh. That's partially why they were so good with him and Warren and Simeon Rice in there too. I mean,
that's true. Yeah,
John Lynch, the rest of them, man.
Fucking George makes a good point. We've talked about football for fucking 45 minutes. Let's talk about let's talk about wrestling if you want.
Oh, well, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I watched my favorite share of wrestling for 30 years.
I'm Kyle Driver, so I'm supposed to talk about wrestling. I want your top 5 old school guys and your top 5 current guys.
Oh, so when does the old school end? That's based off this.
I'd say anything before anything from before the PG era and before the PG era.
So basically Attitude Era and before. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1 for me, personally, I'm a big I grew up on him. I'm a big Hulk Hogan fan regardless.
Okay.
I'll put him in there somewhere. He may not be number 1, but he's on the top 5. I gotta go Sting.
Okay.
I gotta go Kevin Nash.
Solid choice.
only 5 spots. Well, I gotta go Triple H.
No, so do you want to? Is that 4 or 5? Because I had an idea.
That's 4. I got one more, and I'm gonna end it with Scott Hall.
Okay. Now my idea is: do you want to talk about those picks, or do you want to go ahead and go on to your new school guys, or do you want me to?
I'll talk about it. Yeah, I mean Hulk Hogan. I mean, what could be said about him? You know, the dude did so fucking much. You know,
And when
WrestleMania 3, fucking the NWO, fucking single-handedly probably kept shit rolling for a long time. I mean, fuck, he was that guy for 20 years.
I mean, call me a fucking idiot if you want, but Hollywood was my favorite version of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I agree. The Hollywood version was fucking amazing. No wonder why they're going into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Triple H, that boy, he was part of two great factions. Started DX, part of Evolution. I mean, he still does stuff today. I mean, he's been around for a while. I mean, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, you got the fucking outsiders. I mean, Razor Ramon and Diesel. I mean, come on. And Sting has done it at so many levels for so many years. He had a few different gimmicks, different face paints.
All right.
I still love the black and white Sting though over the original.
I'm gonna do my favorite old school guy, or my favorite like older guys. I guess it's kind of a mixture of like. I mean, I guess considering Cena's not wrestling anymore, I guess I can consider him my old school guys because he's not really around. But like, my favorite guys were like, I mean, obviously like Kane, because I should preface this by saying like I didn't watch wrestling until like I was probably like 13 or so, so I didn't see the real. I saw a couple matches of WCW when I was a little kid, but other than that, I didn't really watch too much wrestling.
I started watching it I'd say about 87.
Okay, yeah. See, I wasn't. It sounds stupid, but I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling when I was really little. For some reason, my mom about it.
Yeah.
Right. But so my first one is my favorite wrestler of all time is Kane. Like all forms, mask.
Oh yeah.
Mask, fucking freshly unmasked, all of that shit. My second favorite is Jeff Hardy because I thought it was so cool, like his look, his image, the Hardy Boys tag team, the feuds with the Dudleys and Edge and Christian. That shit was all dope, and like I thought it was cool that he was sort of like a heavyweight, but he could fly, which I thought was rad. Number 3 is Undertaker. Just like as a kid, he was like terrifying as shit.
Always.
Everything about him was rad. He was so big. He had all the tattoos. Like he had the whole butt. Like he had the American Badass hair, which was cool. Like he just had so many different characters, and none of them were bad. You know what I'm saying? And
no, they weren't. No.
I guess third would be probably Triple H. Just like everything about him, like he was just so ruthless. He had the badass intro, the badass like.
He always does, yeah. No matter what it is.
I mean, you can't tell me when you were a kid you didn't see him come in the ring and like spit out water out of a water bottle.
Oh yeah, that's one of his things. That's one of his trademarks. Yeah.
Everybody's done that, and if you say you haven't, you're lying. Everybody spit out water like Triple H at least once. You know what I mean? Like he was just he said fucking DX and fucking Evolution, all that shit, man. It was just so fresh. And John Cena's number 4. I know it's really lame to say John Cena, and it's probably not going to get me a lot of like no one's like probably going to respect that pick, and I get it. I really do. But like growing up, like when I was a kid, like before I realized that wrestling was all like fake and shit, and like I gravitated towards like the faces and everything. Like to me, when I was a kid, John Cena was fucking everything. Like when I first started watching wrestling, before I realized who Kane was or Undertaker or any of these older guys, fucking that's what I was into was John Cena. I even have an old school John Cena shirt from when he had the spinning belt that I got when I was a kid.
I was never the biggest John Cena fan, though. I just
And I guess number 5 would have to be fuck, I don't even know. I said, let's see, I said Kane, Jeff, Triple H, John Cena.
Did you say the Undertaker too, though?
And Undertaker. Okay, so that's 5.
Okay, so okay, that's not a bad list. I mean, there's so many names that can be said.
Before we go to New School, guys, George wanted us to do something.
Oh, what's he want us to do?
George wanted us to, or not George, maybe it was Ryan. Ryan said something about, it was either Ryan or George said pick cruiserweights.
Oh, man.
And I mean, obviously the obvious choice for me, number 1, is Eddie Guerrero with the I lie, I cheat, I steal, all that shit, the lowrider. You know, actually my earliest SmackDown memory, or my earliest Raw, I can't remember which promotion it was actually Eddie Guerrero. When he defeated JBL, I believe it was on SmackDown. And
yeah, it probably was. Yeah, it probably was.
He passed his hat around and people spit in it and threw fucking food in it and fucking poured their beer in it and fucking just disrespected the shit out of his hat. And that was like my earliest wrestling memory.
Wow. That wasn't that long ago, really, think about it. In the grand scheme of wrestling, I mean, him and JBL were feuding in like 03, 04, something like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who. Okay, so I'm not even gonna be able to tell you who it is, but who's the tag team back in the day? They had like the really long baggy shorts and the boots, and they were shirtless, and it was like blue and yellow shorts with like lightning bolts and shit on them. Was it Kidman and somebody else?
I don't
Fuck,
think
who was that?
Let's see, somebody in the chat might know.
They were high flyers. They had blue and yellow shorts with like lightning bolts on them, and they were a tag team. Fuck, I don't know.
Nothing's coming to me out of that.
Hold on, I may be of some help. So
well, who is it?
Wait, hold on. Timer.
I mean,
How long ago?
Probably after it might have been after Attitude Era. I mean, I would have been in my teenage years.
And
James Storm and somebody. I feel like it was James Storm and somebody.
Okay.
I think it was James Storm.
No, James Storm. He was from TNA.
Fuck, who was it?
It was TNA. Yeah.
And that was beer. That was him and Bobby Roode, and that was Beer Money.
I don't know. I know they had fresh ring attire. I just can't remember who it was.
Was it?
Oh yeah, dude. RVD's the fucking dude. RVD was revolutionary as fuck. I really think so.
He was. Yeah, he was.
He was technical as hell, but he could also do hardcore.
God, what was his fucking name? Hold on. I'm on it. I'm on it. Give me a second. I can't remember his name. What Brian?
Lance Storm? Maybe that was it.
Was it Lance Storm?
That's what Ryan's saying in the chat. That sounds right. I don't fucking know. They were super young. Like, they were really green. They, like, no, that's not it.
Hold on. What's his name? He was like King Brian for a hot minute. Give me a second. I'm thinking. He wore the leather jacket, had the long hair.
It's going to bug the shit out of me if I don't figure this out. You can go ahead and pick a cruiserweight if you want.
I mean, cruiserweights. I mean, most of my. I mean, you obviously got. CW. I mean, cruiserweights had a great division going in there. And if you add up, I'd say I would have to go Hoopy Guerrero in that. Dean Malenko was a cruiserweight for a while. Chris Jericho had a great cruiserweight run in WCW. I mean, the one who can do it all. He's done it all, actually. There's anything he hasn't done by now. Obviously, Rey Mysterio in WCW again. Most of my favorite cruiserweights come from WCW. How about that? Damn, ain't that a bitch?
You know, I know it's and some people thought he was lame at the time, but like, I mean, I thought Chavo was pretty rad too. Like, I know he was
George,
sort of
I
like,
think
oh,
Parker was
I
a
found
cruiserweight.
it.
Yeah.
Brian Kendrick and Paul London.
Oh, Brian Kendrick and Paul London. Okay.
I know they're like lame as shit, but at the time I thought they were rad.
That was what I was telling you.
They were
I was
they were
fucking right.
champions.
Suck my dick, Kyle.
They were champions at one point. WWE Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Fucking okay, so now you know who's your. I'll start with my top 5 like current guys.
Oh, okay. Let's do that. Go for it.
Like I think my favorite current guy right now is which I don't watch WWE anymore, but I like Aleister Black a lot.
Yeah.
He's got the look.
Talent.
He's fucking talented as hell. He's got the look. Pentagon Jr. is fucking rad. I mean, if you consider Jericho a current guy because he's killing it in AEW, Jericho at probably 3. Who else? I mean, honestly, Moxley's killing it too. Like, honestly, dude, anybody on AEW is AEW is fucking killing shit. So pretty much anybody at AEW is gonna be rad as fuck.
Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah. No doubt about that. Because current WWE, it's not getting it done. Current right now, it's not getting. Did you see that? Did you see that pay-per-view last night?
I don't watch WWE, bro.
Man, I didn't watch it all, but what I seen, and I'm like no. This is what you roll out.
No, George showed me the error of my ways. George showed me the error of my ways, man. I only watch AEW and
I know George said he was watching TLC last night.
I mean, that's fine. I canceled the network.
I mean, yeah, I shouldn't have watched what I watched. I didn't watch it all, but what I saw, and
my favorite face of Foley. I mean, it's easy, Mankind. I mean,
yeah.
Dude Love was fun. I mean, Mankind obviously, but Cactus Jack is a close second. I put Dude Love 3rd.
Yeah, that's the way to go with it right there. The only way it can go.
I mean, okay, so what's your favorite wrestling match of all time? I know mine's a current one.
Mine? The first thing that comes to mind was, I can't remember the exact year. I think it was 95. It was Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, 60-minute Iron Man match at WrestleMania. And bitch went into overtime. And then, Shawn Michaels won his first heavyweight title. And there we go.
My favorite wrestling match of all time is Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley at AEW Full Gear. That was the good I have seen in probably 10 years.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was definitely up there.
It was fucking. It was technical. It was entertaining. It had a good backstory. It had fucking, it just fucking pulled you in, and it was essentially a hardcore match. I mean, they fucking landed on a bed of barbed wire. He literally fucking hung him from the fucking. He hung him from the fucking rope. I mean, there was broken. Oh my god, man, it was just so fucking fresh. It was. Because that was the night George told me to go watch AEW, and that was like Full Gear was my first representation of AEW.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I saw the match with Cody and Jericho, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, this is rad. And then with that, just to cap it off, dude, I was just like, oh, shit, man. So now I started watching it every week, dude. It's so fucking fresh.
Yeah, it is good. It's fucking the best thing on best wrestling representation right now is AEW. There's no doubt about that.
Spooky Tuesday says Big Will loves men in tights.
Yeah, sure I do. Yeah. Damn, Spooky. Fuck.
Ryan, we don't pay for AEW pay-per-views. We go to watchwrestling.com. we'll have to figure out a way to get in touch and send you the link, Ryan. George showed me this website called watchwrestling.com.
She's like, we don't pay for this. No.
I'm a little bummed that they don't have they have to have like the TV version of Hulu to watch AEW. They don't have like replays on there.
Right.
I mean, I usually watch it live, but it would be cool to go back and like watch, episode 1, 2, 3, or 4. Because I went in, I think on like episode 4 or 5 or some shit like that.
That'd be
It'd be cool to go back and watch the first few. I'm sure I could find them on Watch Wrestling if I looked hard enough.
Probably could.
You are, I think AEW is gonna fucking take over. I think when these people at WWE, like the Alexa Blisses and like, because she's like one of the top female right now. Like,
I mean, I would say Becky Lynch is the top female right now.
Or Becky Lynch. Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Becky Lynch isn't gonna leave because she's getting paid the big bucks. But like the second tier, which Alexa Bliss is my favorite, right?
Yeah. Right.
The second tier girls like Alexa Bliss and maybe Bailey.
Yeah.
I think that they'll leave and go to AEW eventually.
Because it's obvious for people like Charlotte Flair and fucking Becky, they ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere.
NXT.
Which is going to have to happen soon because Vince is going to be stepping away for this fucking XFL starting, in 2020.
Fuck it. I don't know. XFL is going to go away just like the AAF did, which is funny because the Tampa Bay affiliate was the best team in the league when it went under. Which is funny because those people were making $30,000 a year. They were making regular job money to play football. Yeah. And then I don't want to get political, and I'm not going to. This is all I'm going to say about it. Fucking Kaepernick wanted millions of dollars to play in a league where people were getting $30,000 a year, which is why he never signed. I think Tebow or somebody could have done. I mean, obviously Tebow's a little older now, and he's doing his SEC network shit, but like,
he's a little older now. Right, Tebow is older now. Yeah. It's a lot of politics there and shit with a lot of shit that happens. Football is fake, huh, George? Oh, yeah? Oh, football is fake. Okay. You say so. You're entitled to your opinion, George. Hey, George, why don't you come on here, man? Come on.
Yeah, we should open it up in case anybody wants to come on here.
People want to come in and talk about whatever sport they want,
I know most of these motherfuckers watch fucking wrestling, so.
At least wrestling, UFC. Some people watch other sports, basketball, football. I'm sure we got some hockey fans somewhere.
I watch basketball and hockey.
Yeah, I watch hockey. I watch a little bit. I usually watch like the Stanley Cup Finals, but I religiously watch basketball.
I've been a Celtics fan ever since I was a kid. Because my dad was a Celtics fan. Because the Cavs.
You stayed there. You stayed with the Celtics, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure. Ever since Antoine Walker in 2003 with his tall fucking socks.
Right, Antoine Walker. Now he's broke. How about that? Now the motherfucker's broke.
Well, you know, that gives me fucking cred when people say, yeah, you're just a bandwagoner. I'm like, oh, yeah? I've been around since Antoine Walker, bitch. Fuck you.
Antoine Walker, Paul Pierce, both of them were there for a while.
And that 2008 super team that wasn't really a super team with KG, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, Eddie House, and Shaq.
It was the start of super teams.
Yeah, it's probably the first one, honestly. I mean, in the current era, with like the Golden State Warriors and all that shit.
Warriors, Heat, teams that are building now, like making super teams. You know,
I think free agency is killing football and basketball.
Man, free agency is definitely killing it. Yes, without a doubt.
You're never gonna have another Tom Brady that retires with his team.
No, not football and basketball. Definitely not either, because you'll stay at somewhere for 4 or 5 years. You'll go even free agency for. It's the way it's the trend that's going on right now. I mean, it's a shame that people don't stay somewhere for 15 years, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'll post the link again in case anybody wants to come on here and talk about wrestling
or whatever.
Are you a hockey player at all?
Not really.
Do you watch hockey?
I mean, a little bit, but not a lot.
I got a fucking. Let me see if I can. I got a fucking.
When I was younger, but
I got a Blackhawks banner right there. It's a scarf that I made into a banner because I don't wear fucking scarves. Somebody gave me a scarf as a gift, and I'm like, I'm not gonna wear that. I'll just hang it up on my wall and it'll be fresh. What's up, Spooky Tuesday?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
What up?
I can't contribute at all on current wrestling because I don't watch at all. But if you want to talk deathmatch wrestling or old school wrestling back from the 90s, I can contribute, or you can kick me off.
Yeah, the 90s wrestling was fucking great. Without a doubt.
Actually, I
so much good shit happened in wrestling in the 90s.
I want you to school me. God damn it, Will. I want you to school me on some CZW. I've been loving that shit. That's why I keep putting it on my channel and risk my videos getting taken down, because I love that shit. So if there's anything you want to talk about with that kind of shit, I'm all ears, man.
All right. Well, I'll just give you my personal history of watching deathmatch wrestling. I first found it in 2003, and I got really obsessed with it. I started with IWA Mid-South, which is run by Ian Rotten. That's not true. At the time, it was run by Ian Rotten, who is the Axel Rotten's tag team partner back in the original ECW. He was not much of a star in the original ECW unless you're a true fan and you've seen the Taipei death match and like the original barbed wire bat matches that were Ian Rotten versus Axel Rotten after they split that tag team. Anyway, he started his own promotion. By far the greatest show that he ever put on was the Ted, I hope I'm saying this right, I think it's the Ted Petty Invitational 2004. But anyway, that was an incredible show. He got all kinds of former big stars on that show, and yeah, you can find that on rfvideo.com. You can get a DVD copy of that show still, but I started with IWA Mid-South. There's IWA Deep South, and there's CZW. CZW is run by a wrestler named Danzig, not to be confused with the Misfits guy. But he is like middle-aged dude with a huge beer belly and long hair. But back in the early days of CZW, like the most famous people was his name is Nick, I think. It was the Weed Whacker match that really put him on the map, with the Weed Whacker to the stomach that Nick took in that match against Danzig. But yeah, I watched a shitload of deathmatch wrestling back from like 2003 to like 2007, 2008, and then I kind of fell off after that. But man, there's all kinds of good matches. Madman Pondo, uh, Brain Damage, Necro Butcher. There's lots and lots of good names. I do a lot better if you ask me questions about certain things. I just tend to ramble if I'm left on my own.
Now, I did watch I do know who Danzig is because I watched the Vice documentary on what it takes to put on the Tournament of Death. I don't know if you've seen it. It actually, which so the guy that was running it for a while, forget his name. What was the other guy that was running it for a while?
Which promotion?
CZW.
Okay, to the best of my knowledge, maybe I'm wrong, but to best of my knowledge, CZW was started by Danzig. IWA started the King of Death matches, which was copied from the Japan King of Death matches, which Mick Foley and Terry Funk were in. And they kind of took the name and ran with it here in America. And then CZW basically tried to steal their thunder, which they basically did because they were able to put on better shows. And they did their own like Tournament of Death versus the King of the Death. And then there were some cross promotional matches where Ian Rotten and Danzig and Nick Hatred and like some other people were, kind of crossed over between the two promotions. But there's all kinds of legendary shit. There's all kinds of bad history with Ian Rotten and some people that worked for him, and he got to do some crazy ass shit. They did some like off of a scaffolding onto like a barbed wire netting matches where they just like landed and were stuck in the barbed wire, and there's all kinds of crazy shit with that. But my favorite shit was always the fans bring the weapons matches because you never knew what was going to happen. Some of the sickest stuff was actually a bed of sharpened pencils that Madman Pondo took, and still to this day, if he read his book, he talked about there's still fucking pencil lead stuck in several parts of his body from that match.
Oh yeah, dude, the pencil marks stay with you for life. I fell on a pencil once on my foot, and there's still a mark there. That shit stays with you. But okay, so it's DJ Hyde is the guy I'm thinking of, and in the documentary, everybody hates DJ Hyde at the promotion. They all want Zandig to be in charge again. So it's interesting that Zandig is in charge again.
Yeah, some of that is true, and some of it is storyline, just like WWE. They kind of blur the line between the two, the reality and whatnot of it. Basically, I've only learned what the truth was, like a year or two after, when you get to watch all the shoot interviews about what actually happened the year before.
Yeah, CZW is really. I mean, CZW is really the only one that I've watched and reviewed and reacted to on the channel. But Juggalo John's always talking about this one that's backyard wrestling. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I don't know. The only backyard wrestling that I've seen is like real backyard wrestling where it's just a bunch of retarded kids like slamming each other with shit, and they take a bunch of Tylenol right before so that they bleed extra.
Okay.
The stuff that I respect the most is like Necro Butcher, Nick Gage, people that are just willing to fucking go and like literally cover their self with scars, just for a 6-pack of beer.
ESW, that's what it is. Have you seen the shoot interview where Necro Butcher talks about his match with Samoa Joe?
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know if what you saw was a clip of the long, like 4 hour interview that Necro Butcher did with RF Video, or if he did a separate interview talking about that. But yeah, he talked about like some of the most hardcore matches, like in terms of physical damage to yourself. He did was Samoa Joe, and also Loki.
Okay, yeah.
It's Lowki, Loki.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
they
I don't
it was
know.
just a lot of potato punches versus pulled punches in those matches.
I don't know if it's like the same fucking. I don't know if it's the same interview or whatever, but he was talking about how Samoa Joe like 100% didn't want to work with him like at all. He thought he was some
Yeah,
fucking lowly deathmatch wrestler. Didn't want to work with him. So
yeah, that's
just to fuck with him, he made sure he got a lot of color in the match.
yep, yeah, that's 100% true. I've seen an interview with Samoa Joe where he talked about it, and yeah, Samoa Joe obviously bigger, obviously stronger than Necro Butcher, and he was not down at all with having a match with him because he viewed what the deathmatch wrestling as a joke where you just hit each other with shit and cut each other with glass and sit there and pretend rest holds so the other person can cut you. Yeah, he was 100% not okay with that for a long time. It took some extra money from what I understand. Obviously, I was not there in person, but from what I understand, it took some extra money and extra convincing by the promoters to get him to actually do it.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, obviously, the WWE guys probably feel a little bit differently, obviously, but like, I don't understand why deathmatch wrestling is looked at as like lowly or like you said, pretend. Because like to me, deathmatch wrestling, no matter how old it is 100 times more fucking more brutal and entertaining. It makes me pop way harder than anything that's on TV. I mean, except for AEW, obviously, but like anything that WWE's put out in the last few years can't hold a candle to some fucking CCW match from like the early 2000s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I guess from their perspective, at least how I see it, is that there are a ridiculous amount of like, I'm just gonna sit here and wait for you to do something to me in the death match rep matches versus like the regular matches. Which I do get that perspective, but you can't fake the glass. You can't fake the deep
No, you
skin
can't.
cuts. Like I don't know if you've seen the backstage footage. Somebody put a meme in the Discord the other day of like a deathmatch wrestler before the match and after the match using SpongeBob, but like there's just so much blood and so many deep cuts, and those guys have to, especially after those light tube matches, they have to sit backstage and have people pick glass out of their skin for like 2 hours with tweezers after the match. It's absolutely hardcore.
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw during that Vice documentary about CZW, um, DJ, his wife was backstage with him after one of the tournaments of death, and it shows like the doctor pulling shit out of his body. It was fucking gnarly.
Have you seen that match where Nick Cage got cut super bad and super deep? It was right at the beginning of the match, and he got cut on the side. If I believe it was right under his armpit, but it was like super fucking deep, and he was just bleeding insane. And he wanted to continue the match, but everyone else had to stop it because it was just pouring such a severe amount of blood. Like there was no way he was gonna survive if they let him keep bleeding like that.
I didn't see the match, but I did show on my last episode last week. I did show like a compilation of like the most brutal tournament of death stuff, and I think it's the same injury you're talking about.
Yeah, that one was brutal. There's some serious matches between DJ Hyde. If you fast forward, like I was talking about, like 2003, 2005, like when Danzig was in charge. Fast forward to more recent dates, DJ Hyde is now in charge of CZW, and man, he's had some crazy matches with Nick Gage and lots of other people. Like pretty much everybody within the deathmatch world has faced each other at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like, Necro Butcher, obviously everybody knows, and then like Madman Pondo being a Juggalo and playing backyard wrestling back in the day on Xbox. I know who that dude is. Like, fucking. Is there any other like Juggalo favorites that have done like the deathmatch shit besides Madman Pondo?
Well, what's his name? Corporal Robinson was heavily involved in deathmatch, and when he used to be heavily involved with Ian Rotten in IWA Mid South.
Okay.
Another Juggalo connection would be that Madman Pondo dated Bridget the Midget from Big Money Rustlers.
Huh.
Yeah, he said it was fucking weird because from time to time she was just too small and he felt like he was fucking a kid.
That's weird.
It's all in his book. Yeah, you can find Madman Pondo's book on Amazon.
Yeah, fucking George is bringing up New Jack. Like one of my episodes, I showed that fucking scene where he tasered a dude and threw him off the scaffolding and tried to kill him.
Yeah, that's 100% true, man. There's all kinds of interviews on YouTube if anybody out there wants to look it up with New Jack. But New Jack will tell you, man, cocaine's a hell of a drug, and he's done shitloads of stuff. Most of it not sober. And anybody who knows New Jack knows that he used to be a bounty hunter before he was a wrestler, and he has 4 legitimate legal homicides. But yeah, New Jack is crazy as the day is long. There's a match that's not talked about nearly as much, where it's still New Jack versus Vic Grimes. They were doing it at a high school or some kind of gym, where they're up on the balcony, and New Jack was trying to throw Vic Grimes off the balcony, and Vic Grimes, just like he did in the scaffolding match, didn't want to go off, and so New Jack grabbed him and just pulled him off anyway. And they rotated wrong, and Vic Grimes landed on New Jack's head, and that's how his eye got fucked up, and that's why he can only see out of one eye now because of that match. But it's by New Jack's own admission, he pulled Vic Grimes off, and it's New Jack's admitted that it's his own fault that he landed on top of him and fucked him up forever.
Well, I was always told that's why he threw him off the scaffolding and tried to kill him because of that match.
Well, yeah, it goes a little deeper than that. There's a lot of hatred between those two guys in particular. I would assume that particular night, New Jack said that he had a taser and Vic Grimes did not know about it. And when they were up there for that scaffolding match, you can obviously see it in the video. He hits him with the taser a few times before he throws him off. And New Jack says in multiple interviews that he 100% tried to kill Vic Grimes that night when he threw him off. But luckily for Vic Grimes, they'd moved the scaffolding before that match, and he missed the turn post because he was aiming for the turn post, which you can see in the video that he almost hit, but he clipped. There's like 15 or 12 tables set up in the ring, and he clipped just the edge of the tables, and that threw his trajectory off just enough to miss that turnbuckle, and he hit the ropes and bounced off, and that ended the show, and they cleared everybody out that night.
Fucking, there was a match I showed on my channel of there was a match of New Jack with some guy I don't know at a VFW hall somewhere where he stabs the shit out of this guy repeatedly with a box cutter during the match.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're talking about the mass transit incident?
Oh, so that's what George was talking about. Okay.
Okay, so the mass transit incident is there's this big fat guy. He's like 17 years old, but he lied about being 21 years old. And he'd come to the show and he talked a bunch of bullshit about how he was a wrestler and he got himself onto the show, but all the real wrestlers were not cool with some noob just showing up and pretending to be part of what they were doing. So they put him against New Jack, and New Jack 100% pulled out a scalpel. I believe it was a scalpel, and he pulled it out and stabbed him at least 15 times, and he cut his forehead so deep that you could see his skull, underneath his skin. And he didn't, because the blade was so sharp. Mass Transit didn't know how bad he was cut, and he'd like put his head down to sell it. And when he lifted his head back up, that's when he saw all the blood that was pouring out, and it turned into a big deal because he was only 17 and his family tried to sue. And New Jack said they like had to run him out the back door and hide him. And anyway, ultimately, Mass Transit's family dropped the charges, and that was another lucky break for New Jack as to why he's not in jail.
Fucking crazy.
Really is.
If I'm wrong, somebody correct me.
It's funny how many times you can attempt to murder somebody in the ring and get away with it.
Oh yeah, that New Jack has to have the record for the most murder attempts within the ring.
I'm sure he does.
Fucking
New Jack was just so notorious. Like everybody knows Sandman is a drunk, and Sandman would always go to the ring drunk, but New Jack is the most notorious by far out of the underground wrestling for always going to the ring completely out of his mind, fucked up.
you think after a while they'd put a stop to it, but I guess not.
Well, yeah, it's just one of those things that when you're doing wrestling shows in a high school gym for 100 people, if somebody sells tickets, they sell tickets. So New Jack sells tickets.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go farther back, it was actually Jim Cornette that got New Jack into professional wrestling because Jim Cornette was running a promotion, and he got New Jack and Mustafa to come in as the Gangstas, the AS Gangstas, and they would just come in and they'd talk so much shit about white people. And like back then, this was in the days when Rodney King incident was, or the Rodney King baiting was current news, and they'd go out and New Jack would say like, shout out to Rodney King. Or no, I'm sorry, I completely fucked that up. That was a whole different promo that he used to do. He used to do it back when O.J. Simpson was current news, and he'd go out and he'd like shout out to O.J. Simpson. That's 2 less white people to worry about, and he'd get like so much hate from the crowd that they would have to have a police escort out of the building.
Did you hear about Cornette resigning from NWA?
Yeah,
I heard about it. But
seen that. Heard about it on one of Cornette's podcasts on clips on YouTube. I've seen him talking about it.
So, my view on Jim Cornette is that he used to be cool, but at this point, like he's reached that age. I don't know what age that is, but it's got to be around 60, where
he's at
like
least that.
You do not accept any new information whatsoever, no matter what it is, no matter how much proof there is. Like whatever your opinion is, that's your opinion. And like he's hit that age and he just sticks to it, like no matter what.
Yeah, he does.
The line that he had to resign for was, Trevor Murdoch, he's mad, bad, and dangerous. He's the only man I've ever known that could strap a bucket of fried chicken on his back and ride a motor scooter across Ethiopia.
Right, I heard that. I heard that actually. Like, I'm like, damn.
Tori's over here fucking dying. Yeah, dude, that like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I could see how that could be considered. That could offend a lot of people, but it's also not the worst thing I've ever heard.
Right. Not the worst.
Oh man. Holy shit. I mean, we've been going for an hour and a half. I don't know what we should talk about now.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to overstay my welcome.
All right.
Anything else you want to talk about Tuesday? Any other like death match that you want to talk about, or regular wrestling you want to talk about? I don't care if it's old school or not.
No, I'm sure I've rambled much more than I should about this topic. I tend to just ramble and ramble unless somebody interrupts me. That's a character flaw. But I just find it incredible that Big Will can see with both of his eyes shut.
I can see just fine, man. No problem. No problem at all, Pookie.
I just think that's a special skill that Big Will possesses.
My eyes are clearly open. What are you talking about?
I can only see like a tiny dark slit. Yeah, see, even when you do that, they're barely open.
They're open. They're open, man. What the fuck? How often? You gotta have them
someday,
wide or something? Man, I can see just fine. I see clear as day on these motherfuckers.
So one of these days, I swear to God, I'm gonna see a surprised look on Big Will's face where I actually get to see the white parts of his eyeballs.
Yeah, maybe that'll happen. Who knows?
So it'll probably be if like somebody shows him an actual pussy or something, it'll just bug out of his
I
head.
see
like,
that. I see plenty of pussies live in person, man. I don't have no problem with that. I got no problem in that department. And no, these as far as my eyes open, man.
You know, but Spooky, you know, like with my show, you know, I'm gonna continue to watch.
What up, Mike in the chat? Violent
I'm
George.
continue to watch deathmatch and shit on my channel because like I'm pretty new to it and it's so fucking awesome and like the chat seems to like it. And everybody pops for it. And oh shit! One thing I wanted to mention: George showed me the last episode that I did. Big Japan Wrestling. That's some of the most brutal shit that I've seen. Big Japan doesn't fuck around.
They got these cool little things. They're about an inch square, and it looks like it's made out of aluminum or pewter or some kind of soft metal. But they have like about half-inch little spikes. There's probably like 15, 12 little spikes within a square inch. And they turn those upside down and they pound them into guys' heads like from the top, you know? That shit's fucking crazy.
I saw a dude take one of those in CCW, and they had to fucking stand on his. It was a big bald guy. They had to stand on his shoulders with like fucking pliers to pull it out of his head.
Yep.
That shit was gnarly.
What's that guy's name? Have you ever heard of Thumbtack Jack?
No.
Thumbtack Jack, if I hope I'm remembering the right name, but he's a skinny white guy. He comes out with like a white plain mask, usually white clothes. It's always better for deathmatch wrestlers to wear white clothes because they show more blood, but his big thing is syringe needles. And he like comes in and he usually has other people do it to him, but they stick syringe needles from the outside through to the inside, and then like the needles he usually uses that are about like 6 to 8 inches long. So they stick them from the outside of his cheeks, and then they like cross each other through the opening of his mouth. So that's a standard gimmick of his. But yeah, like he likes those. And what's that shit called where you like go to physical therapy and they put a bunch of needles in you?
Acupuncture.
Acupuncture. Yeah, he likes to use those acupuncture needles, and he puts like 15, 20 of those in people's faces and heads and stuff. I believe he's from Germany.
I got that. I got a picture of Thumbtack Jack taking some syringes through his cheek. I'll pull it for you.
Yeah. So Madman Pondo runs a IWA East Coast promotion. He's had on Thumbtack Jack a few times, And Madman Pondo also runs an all-female, not deathmatch, but straight wrestling, but it's an all-female wrestling organization.
Oh shit, that looks like DJ too. That looks like
Yeah,
CZW.
I'm pretty sure that's DJ Hyde right there.
And then I got one other one. It's not violent, but it's a picture of his debut at CCW. Fucking looks like the hardcore Jeff Hardy.
What?
He looks like
Yeah.
the death Jeff Hardy.
I need to see.
That's a pretty good description.
Here, this is his CCW debut right here.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't recognize that picture at all, but it sure looks like Matt Hardy, or I mean Jeff Hardy.
Oh, dude, there's a dude with a Wraith shirt in the corner. That's fresh. You know, I will say it seems like anybody that's been telling me about deathmatch wrestling, as far as juggalos are concerned, they're all about the CCW and shit.
So I could tell you the story of how Madman Pondo got into deathmatch wrestling.
Okay, hell yeah.
Okay, so he was a fan, and okay, so in his book, he tells the story of being at his grandma's house, like for the night or for the weekend, while his parents were doing something, and his friend or his sibling or his cousin or somebody, they were there, and there was like a glass candy dish of his grandma's that was on the table, and they knocked it over and it broke. And so they didn't want to get that. They broke it on accident because they were wrestling inside the house and they weren't supposed to. So, in order to get away from getting in trouble by his grandma, he took a shard of that glass candy dish and cut his hand on purpose. And then his grandma saw that, and she didn't care that they broke it, so that nobody got in trouble. And he said that that was the point where he realized that he could inflict pain on himself and it didn't bother him, right? And this was back when he was like 10 or something. So, like, if you fast forward to like when he got into wrestling as I don't know, 20 something, he contacted Ian Rotten, who had just been kicked out of ECW, the real one, not the WWE one, and he wanted him to do a match with him. And Ian Rotten's like, I have no idea who the fuck you are. It's just some random dude wanting to do a death match with me. Like, go fuck yourself. And so he kept pursuing it and kept pursuing it. And so finally, he paid Ian Rotten to do the match, and he booked the match. And so it was Ian Rotten versus Madman Pondo, and they did a death match. And then that's how he got started in it. And then he continued to work for Ian Rotten's promotion. And then he worked for CZW and basically any independent hardcore promotion that did death matches. But like he always said that like he knew that he couldn't be a real wrestler. He couldn't be Shawn Michaels. So he just pursued the deathmatch style. And so he continued on and then eventually started his own deal with IWA East Coast, and then he dated Bridget the Midget, and then like later on down the road he dated this girl who's like 20 years younger than him, but she got into wrestling as a female wrestler, and then to promote her he started his own wrestling company that's an all-female promotion, and he's one of the main stars.
Speaking of females, my first introduction to deathmatch wrestling was a few weeks ago, like a full match, like watching a full match. So fucking Violet George sent me Mike Levy versus Mickey Knuckles.
Oh yeah,
He thought he was a big fucking tough guy, and she was on her way to TNA, and she fucked his shit up. And then DJ came out and fucked him up. It was fucking fresh.
Do you know much about Mickey Knuckles?
No, actually, I don't.
Okay, so Mickey Knuckles was a local to the IWA Mid-South, aka Kentucky area, and like she wanted to be a wrestler, so she actually went through the IWA Mid South school, um, taught by Ian Rotten, taught by Madman Pondo, taught by Bull Payne. I forget the other names, but like she was brought up through that school, and like she really put in her time, like you know, as um, what's the right word? Like an internship or uh,
Protege,
I,
maybe.
yeah, protege. Like anyway, she emptied the piss buckets from the locker room. She set up the ring. She took down the ring. She cleaned up everything. Like she went to school. Uh, she put in all the work, right? Ian Rotten also dated her. Publicly, she claimed that she was a lesbian, but she was dating Ian Rotten, even though Ian Rotten was married to this fat, disgusting woman that's the mother of his kids. If you ever see a picture of her, you'll see why. Uh, but anyway, so she lived with lots of other wrestlers that were coming up in that underground scene. They actually lived at Ian Rotten's house because you know they make $20 a week or a 6 pack of beer a week or whatever they make, almost nothing, you know, for wrestling in a high school gym full of 20 people. But so she lived with Ian Rotten, and they were having a secret affair. And then Ian Rotten gave her herpes, and there's all kinds of bullshit. If you want to dive deep into that story, I can't go into it all, but eventually she earned a spot into TNA, and that match that you played that George sent you was right before she went to TNA. There's also a famous video of her jumping off of like a scaffolding in a high school gym, and she breaks her leg, and you could watch her thigh bone like buckle in half in that video. That's fucking some incredible footage. But she was a star at TNA for a while, and I don't even know if she wrestles anymore. But man, like talk about somebody who earned their way through. She really put in a lot of work and should be respected.
Well, that's like one of the things to say at the end of the match is like, she's on her way to TNA, you fuck, and like they're just kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah, another amazing match. I can't find it on YouTube anymore. I guess all the true videos of it got pulled down. There's a really horrible version of it that I would not recommend watching, but you can find it on RF Video if you're willing to spend the money on the DVD. But it's Ian Rotten versus Peter B. Beautiful. It's basically the same story as the Mike Levy situation in the sense that it's some dude on the internet pretending or claiming to be like a true deathmatch wrestler without the experience. And so IWA Mid South invites him in, and it's Ian Rotten versus Peter B. Beautiful, and his gimmick is that he's a gay guy, and so he comes out to like the Barbie song by Aqua, and he's dressed in all pink, and he has that like faggot haircut from the early '90s, where your entire head is shaved except for your bangs.
Right.
And so he comes out, and Ian Rotten proceeds to hit him in the head with a steel chair as hard as he can, at least 25 times. It's fucking incredible. Like how he physically survived all those headshots, I have no idea.
Damn. Yeah, man, I imagine
Like,
it's hard for him being fucked with like that too lately. You know, honestly, we've been going live for like 2 hours. I think this first episode of
it's been a good first episode. Yeah, it's been a good first one. Said it's been a good first episode.
I think this has been pretty fresh. I like that we talked about everything from football to basketball to wrestling to deathmatch wrestling. Shit's fucking fire. I appreciate Will and Spooky Tuesday for coming on here. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Fucking Bender Boyz Domination Station is fucking
And you
lit.
can look forward to the college semifinals. We're gonna do like a little fucking, you know, live reaction in a few weeks.
Yeah,
so.
we're gonna try to schedule it out to where we can do live reactions for the playoff games, especially if our teams make it Oh man, that'll be some good trash talk in the
Oh, it's
championship
gonna.
game.
Well, I think they're both gonna make it. I don't see them not making it.
I agree. But I mean, I've had a good time. I'm ready to hop off here. It's been about 2 hours. Like I said,
Just about.
respect
Yeah.
to the chat. Spooky Tuesday, Big Will. You guys
Yeah,
have any
bro.
closing
Wild
thoughts
driver.
before we get out of here?
All right, guys, take it easy.
All right, later. You got any closing thoughts before we get out of here, Spooky Tuesday?
Yeah. Bender Boys dominate.
Bender Boys do in fact dominate, especially on the Domination Station. Thanks everybody thanks for giving me the opportunity. Thanks to George for creating the channel, and thanks for Not Slim One for holding it down earlier. Think it's gonna be a fresh ass channel, and much love everybody. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.